we have the Contractor Coalition Summit coming up in Chicago, November 7th through the 10th. And Nick Schiffer will be there, Modern Craftsman, Tyler will be there, I'll be there, Brad Levitt will be there. So whoever signs up within 1 week of this episode airing gets a full free kit. You get the hoodie and you get the creator pants. How about that?
Of course, and a t-shirt. We gotta throw the
t-shirt. And the t-shirt. The whole suite. So there you go. There you heard
do it.
So, today on the Curious Builder podcast, we had Alex Chou on from Harnish Workwear. Alex and I have known each other for a couple of years. They're a huge fan of the podcast, and we are of them. And it was really interesting to hear that they basically make custom bespoke workwear for construction workers across the United States. And they just really, their commitment to quality is always what stands out. So without further ado, here's Alex. All right, welcome to the Curious Builder podcast. It's another Monday for a great episode. We've got Alex Chou in studio from Harnish Workwear out on the East Coast. What's up, Alex?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
I know. We've actually talked about doing this for quite a while. I've been a huge proponent of Harnish. You guys are one of our sponsors for, I think, our past boot camp at Zion. We've also had you as a sponsor for like our Curious Collectives. And maybe just, I'll start off the gate of how we met. I was on the Modern Craftsman maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't even remember anymore. And anyway, for past returning guests, they had a collaboration with you guys. And they had this killer cool label. I mean, it's so funny because it's this very simple black shirt with this really awesome label. And they send it to you and you're like, it's a t-shirt. Like we've all had t-shirts. I put it on. I think I must have wore that 365 days in a year. I probably wore it 320 days a year. The other 45 days I didn't have it was in the wash because I was constantly wearing it. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I think within just a few days, I think I reached out to you and basically did my own order. And at this point, I've probably ordered several thousand t-shirts to either give away to Curious Builder, Curious Collective, Curious Builder Podcast, Mark Williams Custom Homes. I tell everyone I know about it because everyone's like, it's a shirt. I'm like, oh no, it's not a shirt. It's the softest armor you'll ever wear. So anyway, that's your intro. I suspect a lot of people meet you this way. Is that probably you got to get a shirt on and then as soon as you feel it, you're like, oh yeah, wow, this is totally different.
Pretty accurate. Yeah. And I have to look at the numbers again, but I think you are probably our number one customer. I think you hold the number one spot for quantity.
To hold it over Modern Craftsman?
I think you do at this time. Yeah.
Yes. Eat your heart out, Nick and Tyler and Doug. I own you. Watch out. Of course, they crush me and everything else, but fine. If I own the t-shirt department, I'm happy to have that one.
Yeah. And like you said, I think as soon as people touch it, they get obsessed with it. And I think we can thank our special suede finish, which is a brush we put on the fabric, which is not something you're going to find in a lot of t-shirts.
What does that mean? Like you hit it right on the head. Like, I mean, and by the way, this episode is not meant to be a puff piece. I mean, it probably will come off that way, but I genuinely love this product. It's funny because in my shirt drawer the other day, I was looking at how many shirts I have. I can never get to the other shirts in my drawer because I have 10 podcast shirts that I wear, especially now that coming into the fall winter season. It's like my first line of defense. I wear that under every other shirt that I have because it's like I don't sweat out. It's super soft. But why is this t-shirt? It's still made of cotton, but why is it so much softer than any other shirt I've ever had?
So when you knit the fabric, it's usually pretty smooth. And so this is just an extra step in the process where we brush it so it creates a fuzzy softness on the face of the fabric. And that's what you're feeling when you're.
I mean, well, kudos to you guys because, I mean, on top of the branding, I don't know if it was Slash Creative or if it was you guys or Nick, but that little tag thing, I assume, because it's funny because I've recommended so many people like Brad Robinson, who's a good friend of mine. I know as soon as he was out at boot camp, he got a shirt and he's like, I have to have this. And then the next time I saw him, he sent me in the mail, he made long sleeve tees with you guys with the little tag. Yep. It's like everyone wants the tag. And the funny part is you have to do 1,000 of the tags, right? I think I still have 500 left over. And so it's like, I've had my mother-in-law stitch them on my custom hats, which is from a different company. I've used that tag all over the place. I love that thing.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of rolls into branding. It's a good segue because if you're able to customize the workwear, you spend a lot of time building your brand, your reputation, what your company stands for, your tone of voice, what you bring to the table that's unique. And when you're ordering custom stuff, you want to be able to show all of that equity somehow. So offering those custom labels that you can put on all kinds of products really helps with that brand recognition.
It's you and Kyle, right?
Yes.
How What made you want to get in the t-shirt brand? Because like I already said, like I think before we got on, like ever since Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden and they killed an animal and put some dead animal on their body, shortly after that, they got a cotton shirt. I mean, the cotton shirts have been around for, I mean, at this point, it's got to be millennia. And it's like, how is your shirt? I mean, I know because I've felt it, but why did you decide to get in the t-shirt business? Because it's a massive commodity game versus like take my industry for example, high-end custom homes. Like there's only so many people that can do what we do, and it takes a long time to get there. Like where most people probably assume, oh, like I know what a cotton shirt is because everyone has one, but there's only one Harnish. How, why t-shirts? Like why did you decide to launch this business?
Right. So this whole business is Kyle's vision, right? I mean, he's a builder, he's got a lot of experience in the trades. And I think it started with him being not happy with what was offered for workwear. And he has a specific style that he likes. I mean, he's fashion conscious and he, has a connection with when things fit him well, he feels good. And I think a lot of us share that mentality as well. And so that's the first thing that we looked at. And I think he had a big focus on pants because he wears like more of a tapered, tailored fit. And there really weren't a lot of options out there for something like that. You might get the fit you want, but the durability is not there, or you might get the durability you want, but the fit is just all wrong. So we took that kind of approach and we looked at everything and we spent a lot of time researching and developing pants. And in the meantime, to help push the brand, we developed a t shirt and we wanted the t shirt to also have a specific cut. And I think that's the other thing that people like. I know that Nick's like, it makes you look jacked because the sleeves are tailored and it fits well. And then of course the properties of just being sweat wicking and warm and soft is all things that we wanted. So our goal is to maximize all of the must haves to the point where you're just like, this has everything I want. And then it can stand up to going on the job site and doing what I needed to do and being comfortable and looking good.
Because it was a, I mean, they look super tailored, which I obviously like. And you're right. Now that I think about it, I mean, I wasn't, well, I certainly love the trades and am a huge fan of them. Unlike a lot of other builders like Kyle and Nick, like grew up doing a lot of the work where mine has always been sort of more organizing style, design, those types of things. I'm attracted towards it because it's comfortable. I like the way it performs and feels more from an athletic standpoint. But I
Hmm.
assume whether it's athletic or in the field. I mean, if you're on a windowsill or you're doing a deep squat, like no one, I mean, everyone has seen the plumber's crack. I mean, it's practically a construction joke at this point, but it's like having pants that actually fit your body so that they're comfortable. It was funny because I think, I don't know if I was a beta tester. I think I was for the
You
soft
were.
shell pants because I brought it out to my sister's house last Thanksgiving. I think I did a reel out there. You mailed it to me, and you guys were just getting your first round of product development and testing. And they live out in Colorado and Gunnison at like, I think it's like 7,000, 8,000 feet. And I went hiking in them. So for me, I like a highly durable pants for mountaineering and for just hiking and being in the mountains, but I also like something that's super comfortable. And so my testing was totally different than what your target market is, which obviously the construction field. I'm giving it like I was like, after I wore it, I think I texted you. I'm like, dude, you guys need to go to like REI or Patagonia. You need to white label it or get this into the mountaineering community because the wearability of it was phenomenal. Because from a mountaineering standpoint, like you're in the rocks, it's very abrasive. You want something that's really tough. So a lot of similar characteristics, oddly enough, that you were in pursuit for construction very much appealed to me in outdoor wear. But what I thought was particularly genius is the inside of your waistband, you had those three lines of rubber, I think. I'm not quite sure what
Yeah,
the fabric
silicone
was,
printing.
silicone
Mhm.
printing. And it was amazing because I assume that you developed it that way so that when people have tool belts on, people would be wearing tool belts and throughout the day, if they're not wearing suspenders or over shoulders to sport, you'd pull your pants down, right? Back to the plumber's crack. Or basically you've invented a product that thwarts, that gives the middle finger to the plumber's crack. And but basically your pants don't move. They don't slide down. They stay where you want them to. And I was like, this is super cool. And then I saw you put it on the cuff down by your ankles. So you don't get like the high riding because everyone has had it down by their boots where you sit down in a chair and you look down and your pants are up by your knees. You look like, you're Payne Stewart, reference to an old golfer, by the way, for those that don't know who Payne Stewart is. I think he's from Minnesota, actually. Deep cut. Anyway, long story short, super impressive. So that was almost a year ago now because by the time this releases, we're only a couple of weeks away from Thanksgiving. What has happened since then in terms of now you've had the creator pants out there for sale for probably what, 6 months?
Yeah, and we're still collecting feedback. It's our first major, huge development. We put a lot of time and effort into it. And so all of our new customers are also testers, and we're focused on improving our products constantly and getting customer feedback. And that's what we're doing because there will be a version 2 that comes out at some point, and we're going to take everybody's feedback. It's like a community built product. And so that's what we're doing now. And it's to back up, it's funny that you mentioned hiking and outdoors because there's a lot of crossover, I think, between outdoor wear and outdoors in general. And the guys that work in the field, one of Kyle's good friends, Sean, who owns a company called Pro Roof, shout out to Pro Roof, they're on the roof all day and they're outside, and you need to have that mobility. And so there's this crossover between athletic wear, outdoor wear, and having that mobility and comfort and stretch and that protection. It all kind of rolls into one product, which also makes it versatile. So you can take it. I've taken it mountain biking, and they're great for that. And yeah, so it's
It's doing its thing. It was reminds me we did our our honeymoon in Iceland and Norway 14 years ago, and there's I didn't know it at the time. Now it came to the United States, Fall Raven. They had this really cool wax pants. It's like a T1000 or whatever it is, but they have pocket. It
yeah.
almost because whenever I go to the Boundary Waters, I'd have my mountaineering pants, or you'd have your pants that you could zip off and do the shorts thing. And everyone in Europe, everyone had this particular pant. So of course we're over there. I had to buy a pair. And it's funny, it wasn't until I came back and wore those creators that because that pant has been my go-to outdoor hiking, canoeing, whatever pant. But your pants, actually, the next time I go to the Boundary Waters, I'll bring those because the pockets, again, the functionality, the waterproof, seeing water bead up on it, very similar characteristics. So it's funny that there's so many parallels in that. Going back to your what you mentioned before. So when you and Kyle were originally thinking about starting Harnish, was it always meant to be a pant company first and you started with shirts because it was a lower hurdle to get to?
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, perfecting and designing the pants took a lot of time, and we wanted it to be just right. We didn't want to release anything that we didn't feel good about. So we went through lots of different iterations, different materials. The design changed a lot. And then we had issues in supply chain stuff. And we still, we had people asking about the brand. And so a t-shirt is kind of one of those basic things that you can help sell to support the brand. So it was low hanging fruit in the beginning. But yeah.
Yeah, interesting. How so? Because right now on the website, essentially, you've got shirts, long sleeve. You've got, of course, the creator pants now, the soft shell. You've got your hats, kind of your normal staples. What are you? I assume by far your t-shirts are your best sellers right now in terms of
Yeah,
quantity.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as quantity goes, yeah, I mean, people like what the brand stands for as well, and they want to support us, and that's kind of something that they can kind of break into and get used to the quality of what we provide, and then making that jump to the pants might be a little harder for some people, and I think it's about education, what makes our products different and better, and growing that awareness, which is what we're doing now.
Where did the name come from, Harnish?
So that's actually Kyle's last name. It's a funny story because when I first met him, I think the name was like Trade Threads. And he's like, well, what do you think? How can we create a logo here? And I was like, I feel like we could work on this a little bit more. So I went back to the drawing board and I made a whole name list and I went through it with him. And then I was looking at his last name and I was like, Carhartt is kind of like, it's somebody's last name and it stands for something. And getting to know Kyle at that point, I was like, why not call it Harnish Workwear? It's got these two H's on either side. It's nice and symmetrical in that way. And it stands for what he believes in. And the whole thing is his vision. It makes a lot of sense to me. And then I combined all the other details after that. But he's like, all right, I guess we could do that. He's a humble guy. So it's like, put my name on it. But I think it was a good move. And everybody seems to really like the logo.
I think when you have a personal brand or when you have something, it's a lot easier when you're the founders. I think the hardest part is when the company gets bigger. I know I've heard this before, let's say about Apple. Steve Jobs was a very polarizing figure. He really was the culture. And then when he was gone for a while, the culture suffered. He came back. So leadership matters. But I guess where I'm going with this, as a company scales and gets bigger, if it can stay true to sort of its founder roots or its personality or its ethos, the company usually does much better because I think most of us sort of like the startup idea. We like a small company. We think they're more attentive, they're more real, they're more authentic, and they are all those things. And then, of course, as they get bigger, become more successful, it's not that they get away from those principles, but like as you scale a company, it just gets bigger and bigger. You get further removed a lot of times from your clients and maybe even from yourself. And so it's always really appealing to me. I love call it bespoke companies or companies that are very hands-on because there's a certain amount of authenticity and uniqueness about them that shows up in all sorts of ways that I think we sort of gravitate towards. I think that's why people like organic things. I know in building right now, biophilic design is super big. Things that obviously anything that's made naturally we just have a natural affinity to it. But they do make a lot of design things that appear to be natural. I'm thinking of hardy plank, for example, like cedar siding. We know that there's going to be maintenance with it, but people like the feel and our clients like it as a cladding. However, a lot of people don't like maintenance. So if you look right on the side of a hardy plank board, you've got the imprint of wood. It's fake. It's a print press that makes it
Right.
look like it's real wood. And so anyway, where I'm going a little deep here on this is just how people are sort of are drawn towards anything that feels organic or real or as close to the source. I mean, that's how I value things. I'm guessing you've seen that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, being a startup, it's a struggle and it's hard. I mean, we've had lots of challenges. In fact, it's funny when you were testing that product, I think the product that you had was an earlier version, and we had a rip where I think one of Nick's guys ripped a hole through the cuff at the bottom, and he sent us a picture, and he was like, "I don't know what you're gonna do about this," and I was like, "All right, let's get back to the drawing board here and figure out how to fix this." And at that point, we were close to full scale production. So that was like my last opportunity to find a resolution. So I talked to our factory, which is great, and came up with an idea. Maybe we need to take our super strong PA50 shell fabric and cover that elastic band that seems to be the weaker one. And that's what we did. And it works out great. We have no rips for that cuff area. And that's performed really well. So you just have to pivot and do your best to find solutions. And it's a fight being the small guy, but staying true to who we are and what we stand for, I think is really important at this stage in our development and beyond as we grow as well.
You guys have been in business for about 3 years, 4 years?
A little over a year or 2 years, actually,
Okay.
because I mean, it started off as an idea and then the full launch of the pants. So,
Okay.
yeah, not too long.
Yeah. I mean, where I was going with this is kind of going back into, and I think I know the answer now that I'm thinking about the question, which is that old famous saying that necessity is the mother of invention. I mean, Kyle believed wasn't a pant that either fit his derriere or that he liked well enough to like, hey, I'm just going to buy this, so I'm going to create a company. The reason I'm thinking about this is we had Paul Crumrich on from Greenway Solar and Donkey Label. Yeah, that like maybe a year ago. He does solar here in Minnesota, but he told this hilarious story where he's a big biker and he was doing Ironmans and those kinds of things. And he ordered a jersey from the UK, and he's a large Caucasian man from the United States. They just were bigger framed, evidently. And anyway, the large was like wouldn't even fit over his head. He needed like a triple XL from the UK companies. And so rather than send it back or order another $300 jersey because it was really high end jersey, he started his own bike racing company apparel just because he wanted it to be super cool. And now here 15 years later, he's still got this bike racing apparel company as like a side hobby. But where I'm going with this is like Kyle felt the need. He's like, rather than going and finding another pant or having it taken to a tailor to have it adjusted, I'm literally going to start my own company to make my own pants because I want my own pants to fit that great.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. That's the mentality, right? It's like make something, and if you like it that way or you want things a certain way, chances are there's other people that do as well and that will appreciate it.
This episode is brought to you by Adaptive. If you're still chasing checks and juggling spreadsheets, it's time to upgrade. Adaptive is revolutionizing how builders get paid with AI-powered bill pay, automated draws, one-click payments, and built-in lien waivers. Faster payments, fewer headaches, and total visibility. Adaptive takes care of the back-end chaos so you can focus on what you do best, building. We've used Adaptive for 2.5 years and trust them to keep our projects moving and payments flowing. Learn more at adaptive.build and simplify the pay process today. For more information, you can also listen to episode 10 and episode 15. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while now, or even if this is your first episode, I talk about the Contractor Coalition Summit all of the time. Our next one is happening November 7th through November 10th in Chicago. And all the details can be found at the contractorcoalitionsummit.com. You've got Brad Levitt, Nick Schiffer, Tyler Grace, Morgan Molitor, and myself will all be there. We've got great content over 3 days. You've got builders from all over the country. Try to get it to about that 30 people number. And we'll have sponsors as well that add a lot of value to each one of these dedicated days where you're talking about contracts and spreadsheets and margin and whether you're doing fixed bid or cost plus, your pre-construction agreements. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. If you haven't been following it yet, you should. The Contractor Coalition Summit Instagram page is giving you a steady diet of the conversations that are being had, a lot of promo reels, a lot of the interviews that I've done personally at Omaha, which was my first contractor coalition where I'm part of the leadership. I interviewed all 36 people that attended, and we're going to be unveiling each one of their interviews over the next couple of months. So people that were not able to attend and would like to can kind of get a better idea of the value that builders are getting. So if you're going to sign up and come to Chicago, you can type in the promo code Curious Builder and get $2,500 off, and we'll see you in Chicago. I feel like our industry, I mean, people work so hard in general outside, but we don't, and I think wellness takes in a lot of different factors, whether it's your health, obviously your physicality, being in shape is a lot of different contexts, but really the stereotype, I've been saying it a lot that I sort of want to fight the stereotype that exists that builder, like if you were to close your eyes and say, what does the average contractor of America look like? The stereotype would likely be fat, hairy, overweight, alcoholic, flannel wearing, whatever the stereotype. And like, there's so many that are super fit and like they prioritize their health and all these different things. And like, I meet at people wherever they are. I'm not saying you have to be exact opposite of all those things, but just like there's probably people out there that also believe in feeling great. You mentioned earlier on, like the t-shirt, like if you feel good in it, you're also, I mean, if you feel good, you're going to perform better. So like, I've had a number of contractors who I've given our shirts to, or they see it. This young crew, I forget what's the word they always use. Not dope or tight. That's from like the 80s and 90s. Lit. I forget what it's a
Lit,
millennial word. I don't know, but like they saw me.
fire,
Yeah, it's like I don't know what I was wearing, but I wore the creator pants and my modern craftsman shirt at the time when I got it. And the guys are like, I forget. Now I can't remember the word, but it was like they were like commenting. It was these young framers, and they were commenting on the style, like, "Oh, that's tight. Like I want those." It wasn't tight though. It was something else. It was really funny. I was like, I didn't pick up on the lingo right away. And but I think it matters. I guess is where I'm going to this. And you see like logos and storytelling, it's all part of it. Like, and your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think if you put something out there that you believe in, I 100% agree with you and Kyle. Like, there will be an audience out there for it. That's why people create businesses.
right? And I think there's something about that. How do you become a high performer in your field, right? Like, and I think you could start with different things like your state of mind, your mentality, and how do you beat out the rest or just do the best work? It's a mentality, it's a drive. And if it takes a long hours to get there, you need to feel good or you need to take care of yourself to get there. I mean, there's also other ways to get there, which might not be as healthy, but at the end of the day, your health is all you have.
Going back to the pant creation, because that was something
Yeah.
that was the problem you really want. Like, what goes into it? Like, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, this is just complete just guessing. So like if I want to have a shirt, I'm probably either going overseas, I'm trying to find somebody that wholesales like 10, 15 different kinds of shirt blanks, have them send to me. I try on all of them, make a few tweaks, and away I go. Pants, I have to imagine, are a lot harder because you probably still start with a few blanks or at least a few prototypes, or do you really start from like just this is like a house, like almost like an architect. Like you go to the architect and you say like, hey, I would like this house to cost $2 million. I want 4 bedrooms. And like, is it similar to that? Or you're like, okay, I want my pants to do these 6 things. I want the end cost to be about $150, $200 or whatever you think that it's going to cost. Or like, how do you go about sort of whittling away the things that won't work so you can get kind of really dialed in on this pant specifically?
So I'll make some assumptions about building as well, but I believe that it's probably similar. And Kyle will bring a product to me that he likes, and it could be not even a workwear related pant. And he just says, I like the fit of this. And then we'll look at other products that are on the market, and we'll say, oh, I like the pockets here, and I like how that looks, and I like the functionality. So then we take all that stuff and we try to make the pants fit the way we want and then have all of the stuff we want. And then we'll actually create our own design language and we'll design the pant from scratch. And then once we get a pant where we're like, okay, I think this will work and it looks good, then we have to select our fabric. And I think fabric is like a huge part of it too, because that's where you're going to get your feel, your look, your drape, the durability, which is number one for us too. Everything's number one for us, but it has to perform and it has to be durable, but then it also has to stretch. And that's one of the things that you'll find is that when things are really durable, they're rigid and they don't have a lot of stretch. So how do we solve that problem of combining the two, and then also making the fit, and then also having all of the stuff that you need in the pockets where you need them. And that's kind of the process. And then you go and you have that made, and you do a whole tech pack and everything, and using resources to get to find the best factories. And I worked in the sports apparel industry for over 10 years. And so I've got some connections, and I've visited Asia every 6 months for my whole career. And I got to see firsthand how they're done and seen the quality for myself. And that's pretty much what we're after. And that's where we're at now is we have something that we've put all of that time and effort into. And now it's just a matter of refining.
Going back to sourcing, because it's no different than, as I mentioned before, as a builder,
Yeah.
I depend on my subcontractors, my people, my cabinet shop. I mean, essentially, they're multi-decade relationships to get to where I am at in terms of what I can execute. I assume that it's no different than not only the fabrics, but the people putting together the shipping, the supply chain, and your history of 10 years being in that industry that you were in. What did you learn that you were able to sort of bring into Harnish? Is it like, because I know just from where I've seen like my backpacks made or some of my clothes, you'll check the tags. It's like Vietnam, China, Indonesia, like those are kind of the common players. Is there certain, like, how do you navigate that? Like, okay, great. My stuff comes from China. Okay. Who do I call in China? Like, how does this process work? Like, how did you go about sort of either A, selecting the mills and the factories and even doing these test packages of like, hey, here's our sample design. We need you to make a couple, send them back over. Like, what's that? Walk us through a little bit that relationship building, how you select people, and then even those early proofs, like how you get them back and like the time span. Like, how long does this all take?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So, working for large global sportswear companies, you can't really poach their production factories or anything like that. So we kind of had to start from scratch pretty much. And that starts with the research on what kind of fibers do you want to use. We knew we wanted to use Cordura and Dyneema, which are some of the strongest fibers that are known to man right now that are being used in textiles. And so then you have to work backwards and say, okay, well then who's making these fibers, and how can we make our own textiles, and who can we contact? So you start with the parent companies and you reach out and you say I'm interested in doing this thing, and then they'll kind of give you options, and then you reach out and you just kind of see what they have to offer and start a relationship. And it gets expensive too because you have to pay for trial runs of things, you have to test things and collect data. So yeah, it's a really long process, and there's no one there holding your hand telling you like, oh well, go this way. You have to really do the legwork. So yeah, it can be really tough. And then we had a factory in one country, and we spent a whole year and a half developing and iterating, and then come to find out the quality's not that good, and we pulled the plug last minute. We didn't pull the trigger there, and then we started from scratch and we went to a different country. So it's just a matter of trial and error at the end of the day to learn, form a relationship that's going to last too, because when communication is bad, things move slow, and we can't afford to be moving slowly. I'm sure it's the same with building a structure where you have deadlines, and then you have weather you're dealing with, and you got to get stuff done before the winter time, and you just got to move.
Well, I mean, when you guys were shipping the pants last year, it was right after the election, and so all the tariffs were being threatened on. I remember, I think a lot of your containers were being held up, and so it's like, yeah, it's like, well, when are we going to get these? And you're like, I have no idea. I don't know
Yeah.
when they're shipping either. So it's like, there's always, well, you're probably less dependent on weather. You have to worry more about international sea travel, and actually, you are dependent on weather. If there's a typhoon or a hurricane happening, that's going to probably impact some of your shipments. So.
But geopolitical, definitely. I mean, when you're a global I mean, that's the other thing too. The reason why I mean, some people will say, "Oh, American made," and they're very much stand by that, which is fine. But our products, we wanted to stand out and be some of the best. And you really have to have a global reach in order to get those resources, in order to make something truly special, at least at this time. So yeah, having your factories in different countries and your products are made in different areas, definitely the geopolitical climate can cause some other issues, which makes it exciting, but also you got to learn how to pivot.
Right. Oh, for sure. What are some, just because I mentioned to you before, we're doing a series on Thursdays called Losers Are Winners, but what are some early fail stories where you're like, I'm just picturing like a pair of pants coming, you put them on, you roll up the zipper of the pants, just like splits in half, or like, what are some early things you're like, oh man, that's a pretty epic fail. And what did you learn from them?
Yeah, well, I mean that cuff separation that I told you about earlier, that's one of the big ones.
So
But
what was specifically happening?
So the elastic cuff is a weaker fabric because it has so much elastane in it for it to stretch. It was ripping with the pressure from those silicone bands inside the
Yep.
cuff.
Yep.
They grip really well. And so what the guys were doing is they were putting their pants on with socks, and their socks were grabbing onto the grips, and then it was just ripping
The cuff
the
right out.
band. Exactly. So that was the weaker fabric, but it was there to create that stretch and that,
How'd you
you know,
fix it?
so we took the shell fabric and we brought it down over the cuff to protect it, and that will create the strength that it needs. So it's all one instead of a piece that's sewn on top. And then with our hoodies, that was another challenge. I think Kyle and I wanted the hoodies to have a certain feel and a weight to them. And I think everybody who tries on our Pioneer One hoodie is impressed, and it definitely has that heaviness to it. It's one of the heaviest hoodies available. But I think we wanted it to be fluffier and have more like of that pocketed insulation. But it's a very durable, thick fabric. And I think that was something that we didn't quite get in front of. And then production was going, and we were like, we're not really that happy with this, but we've already kind of pulled the trigger on it because the other thing too is you're looking at 6-month lead times with stuff. They got to knit the fabric and then they've got to construct the fabric. So you're kind of planning a year out. And for a small brand like us, we're trying to hit like hoodie season. Things aren't going well. Oh, we had our fabric coming in and it had like lines in it, our Dyneema fabric, they were knitting it. And we were like, this is unacceptable. We can't have lines and streaks in this. How can we fix it? So then we went back and it's like, do we re-dye it? Do we re-knit it? How do we work with that? Can we cut out part of it? And when you lose money, if you can't use all of the fabric that you paid for. So it's just a matter of like learning curves and working with those partners to try to perfect it. And it's a challenge, but yeah, it's very exciting. I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, it sounds like it. And from a design standpoint, now I know you're kind of obviously the graphic design and a lot of the higher level design. I mean, is this when you were doing merchandising and clothing for your previous decade? I mean, was that your role? Were you designing clothes? I mean, whether it's software, like how does one go about designing clothing?
Yeah, so I went to a fashion school. I have a fashion background, but my main focus was on branding and graphics. So that's kind of where I started. But I was always working on these cross functional teams and seeing how footwear was being designed and apparel. And I was like, oh, I could do that. I'm the type of person that's like, I'm a DIYer. So I'll dive into something that I've never done before and just try it out and learn that way. So that's kind of how I learned with apparel design, watching these designers work and trying it out myself. And I really enjoy it. It's actually really fun. And that's kind of how, and then we had freelancers come help us out as well. So learning from them and helping us, we have a great team behind us as well.
Now you have so what are some of the things, I mean, we know on the backside that quality and some of the things that aren't out there. These bigger companies, like why does innovation always have its day? So like big brands, and I guess I won't say them, but there's some huge brands out there in construction workspace that we all know of. Like I assume that they're innovating. They have teams. Like where is it that when a company gets so big that a small company like yours can flourish in competition against them? Is it just because sometimes whatever's out there, people just want option B just because they like different? Like when you go to the framers or the trimmers or whoever's buying the products, like when you're testing these with like NS builders, what are the people saying? Like they're giving up their standard outfit, if you will, and trying all harness stuff. Like what are they saying? Like what is the difference? Like why switch?
That's a good question. It's great to talk to these guys because they really are in tuned and they've tried different things and they know what they want and they know what they're looking for. And they'll come to us and they'll say, hey, look, I'm looking for this thing. I couldn't find it. I mean, can you guys develop it? Are you working on this? Or they'll name drop a brand like, I like this brand because of this, but they're really not durable, like people say, or like they claim to be. But I like this and this about it. It just doesn't hold up. And so we're coming to the table with solutions to those problems and say, okay, look, our fabrics, they're way more expensive than what you've been wearing because it can stand up to it. And then it's got all the things that you like about it. And I think those are holes that aren't being filled by these other bigger brands too, because it comes down to cost. And working for a big brand too, it's always about cost. It's always like, oh, we can't do that. It has to be this price point. But with me and Kyle, we're just like, F it, dude. Like, let's just go
Yeah, let's
for the
do it.
gold. Like, yeah, which is really exciting to design like that because we can literally get the best of the best fibers and textiles and we'll use them. And yeah, it costs us a lot of money and it's a lot of upfront. But at the end of the day, the product, you can feel the quality of it and it will perform for you.
I
Because for us, it's not about cost, it's about quality.
I love that, and I also like that you have all these beta testers who are more than I mean, who isn't willing to try out stuff even if you have relationships with the heads of companies like myself or Nick or whoever, but, obviously, if we give it to our people, like, they're happy to wear it, and especially if you're saying like, "Hey, give us feedback." It's not very often that your average layman is gonna get an opportunity to sort of be a product tester, like, there's gotta be something that's actually probably kinda cool about it for them too to say, "Oh, hey, on the next time" what are some stories that people have said, "Hey, could you have a pocket for this?" Or, "This is, like, something that I really wanted." Where you're like, "Actually, that's a great idea. We're gonna add it to the pants." Do you have any stories like that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll fill you in on kind of our design process. We had this cool, like asymmetrical idea in mind, and we had another pant version that hasn't come out. That was like the predecessor to the Creator One. And we just kind of carried that story through. And then as people started wearing them, they're like, I really like the pockets on here, but can we have it on the other side? So I think more pockets might be in our future.
This episode is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. I've used Pella for 21 years as the exclusive window company on every one of my builds. When people ask me who I trust for windows and doors, it's Pella, every time. Their craftsmanship, their innovation, the top tier service make them a no brainer for any custom home builder or designer who demand the best. Whether you're designing something bold or building something with timeless elegance, Pella has you covered. They're also the only window company that has a lifetime warranty on all of their windows. I've gotten to know all of their people at Pella Corporate as well as locally here at Pella Northland. I'm proud to call them our partners and our friends. Visit Pella.com to learn more and connect with your local reps today. For more information, you can also listen to episode 1, where I interview the Pella Northland founders, as well as episode 109, where we talk all about their latest innovation with the Steady Set window. Well, it's funny. So I happened to be, and I actually just dropped them off at the tailor yesterday across the street. I've been delaying it for months. So they say, I don't know if you know this, but like I was talking to someone in fashion and they said that buying habits, that men shop horizontally and women shop vertically. Have you ever heard this?
That makes a lot of sense.
So to paint a picture for the audience is like, let's say you go and you buy a pair of jeans, black jeans, let's say, and they fit and you're like, I love these. So then you go and you buy all the other kinds of pants in that color, same fit. And so now you have, let's just say this example, 4 pairs of pants, different colors, but they're all the same. So they're great. Okay, now I've got variety. Where stereotypically a woman, let's say she gets a pair of pants, she'll match it with a shirt and with shoes. So she's shopping vertically where men are
Hmm.
shopping horizontally because they want to remove their thought process. I just thought it was really interesting perspective. And it's totally true. My brother in law, it's been 2 years. We were for his graduation gift from our family. I said, you can go anywhere you want in the world and I'll take you there. And so he chose Italy. So anyway, long story short, we went to Italy. Oddly enough, I'm wearing one of the shirts that I got with him right now. But anyway, I bought 4 pairs of pants from the same company. Super cool styling. They work out perfect. I wear them all the time, especially in the summer when it's hot here because the material is just really light. Anyway, long story short, all of the pockets have blown out in the exact same place on the back. And I took it into the tailor right down the street from me in my office. And I said, why? I said, why are all these back pockets blowing out? And she goes, too much money. And like it was so funny. I'm like, well, it's not too much money. I think it's my phone. But all of them were blowing out in the bottom part. And so if I was to give them feedback, it'd be like make a heavier stitch in your back pocket. But it's so weird that of all my pants are all blowing out in the exact same place in the exact same rear pocket, which is just sort of but you would never know that if you didn't wear it for a year and a half, 2 years, because it's not going to break right away.
Right, and the designers, they might not have been thinking about that, or maybe the construction was just in a way where it's like, oh yeah, this is working, and you don't know it until you really put it through the paces, which is what we're doing now with this first iteration. It's like some people will get it and they'll say, this is really nice. Like, I don't want to really like ruin it. And we're like,
Yeah.
no, mess it up, put it
Right.
through the paces. If you rip something, let us know because we want to fix it on the next one.
Yeah. No, that's what how every business has to deal with cash flow. I mean, all businesses as entrepreneur, you've got cash flow, you've got hiring, you've got firing, you've got marketing. You have so much time in the beginning where you're iterating, you're designing. How are you guys managing cash flow? Because it's got to be hard because you aren't able to sell it till you develop it. So a little bit like a builder doing a model home, like you have to get bank financing, you have to buy the land, you got to build the house, but the payoff is not for a year and a half. And hopefully for most builders, you can maybe get a few build jobs off of that home that maybe will help pay for that as a loss leader. Is it similar in terms of like how you are structuring a business? Because you have to design these things. So initially, you're pumping a lot of money into this business. And then obviously, t shirt sales were obviously meant to sort of subsidize or bring in, it had to be obviously on brand, and they certainly are. But the idea is like, you still have to make payroll once a month. Like, is it just like any other business? It's constantly the seesaws of life. Some months are better than others. Or how does one sort of, I mean, you launched this pant. This pant was really been several years in the making, and it's only been launched less than a year, and you're still working on it. I guess paint a picture of like how do you keep at it because you still have to sell. I mean, you still need to have proceeds coming in.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like it's more of a Kyle question, but
Yeah,
he does what he can to support it financially, and he's out there building homes, and he's used to that pain tolerance as well. Because, like you said, the homes they take a lot of financial burden up front, where you're shelling out for materials and labor, and then you get the payoff at the end when the house sells. But yeah, I do freelance on the side too to bring in cash, and it's just a dedication. You're really just pushing hard and hoping that it pays off later on, and you get the support of our community. And I think our H label service has been a huge part of the business that's helped keeping us afloat, because we provide products that companies like yourself can customize, and that's a constant cash flow, and it's easy for us to provide that service. And then as far as the individuals out there that are looking for that high end workwear, we're still trying to get the name out there and have people test us out and try us out and let them know that we're here. And yeah,
like in social media, I was just thinking about this. I don't know if this is true in merchandising, but like you think of like collaborations. So like obviously I collaborate with architects, I collaborate with designers, which is kind of it's always been that way in terms of building a house. But you see for certain social media, like, hey, if you're gonna do a joint post, like both brands benefit from sort of cross promotion. Is there any sort of place where let's say a company like Harnish can cross promote with other brands to really elevate both brands? And what would those brands even be?
absolutely. We're kind of focused on the high end development side of things. And so a lot of our partners have been like upscale, I'm trying to blank on it, the industry, landscaping.
Okay.
So high end landscaping. And then we've grown a lot in Canada, surprisingly, high end home building in Canada. And so, yeah, just partnering with those like minded people that have a sense of quality and craftsmanship, that really care about what they're building and what they're making. So it's anywhere from artists, builders, landscapers, people who create things. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we named the pants Creator One, because these are for people who create. So anybody who really, embodies that mentality and is striving to be better than they were before and being a master at their craft, no matter what that is, kind of who we're looking to work with.
What as we wrap in the rest of this year, what would make this year successful? Or basically like what's kind of exciting as you kind of close in on this year and then really sort of look towards next? Because as you mentioned, you're oftentimes looking 6 months out. Like right now you're selling hoodies because we're going into a colder cycle, I would imagine. You have to be those orders have already sort of happened, or at least your stock is in, and then you can custom brand them based on inquiries, sales, and things like that. But what does next spring look like? Or what does your downstream look like?
That's a good question. I mean, we're shooting from the hip over here.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that we are developing other products in tandem. It's really exciting to get something out the door and have great factory relationships and dive into new products and new testing. That's the other thing too, is when you're trying to develop a new fabric that's just different from anything else, like that takes a lot of time too. Trying different fiber blends and seeing how they hold up. But yeah, how does that look? I think if we get a lot of awareness in Q4 from doing things like this, being on with you, I appreciate it. I think that would be successful. And getting feedback from our customers, tell us what you like about it, what you don't like about it, email us, communicate with us. I think that's one of the big aspects that I love about doing this is getting to meet all the people. You've brought a lot of H label customers to us in your community and your network, and they're all amazing people and they're fun to get to know and talk to and provide a service to and get to know their businesses. And so, really trying to grow that community is important to us and have that communication.
Yeah, I was thinking of another business. Just as I don't know that much about it, but like you'd like taste samplings, right? So you see them at like my sister-in-law sells wholesale natural wine, and so a big part of her business is doing events and just handing out their natural products. And it's like as soon as someone tastes the difference, then they want to buy some. I mean, it's an old thing. I mean, this isn't new, but like as going back to like whenever I give away your shirts, people always comment, "Oh man, I." It's funny because actually, who the number one wearer of your shirts is my clients' kids. I think my joke is that by the time I retired, I'm going to be in so demand because there is a lot of 9 to 14-year-olds running around the Twin Cities with Curious Builder apparel and Mark Williams Custom Homes apparel that they swipe from their parents. So their parents come in, I talk to them, I give it as part of their greeting package, or I give some of my client or some of my guests that come in studio on the podcast, I'll give them some apparel, and sure shooting within like a week to 10 days, I'll get a picture and whoever came in will say, "Hey, do you have any more? My teenager swiped the hats you gave me, or swiped the shirts you gave me, or the water bottle." And it's just so funny. Like, I think just the power of branding, like, they like stuff that's different. They don't like commodities and just
Mhm.
in general, people. And then people like the fit and feel of it. And so, if there was a way to sort of monetize, or like basically you could do like a special, like, hey, we'll outfit your company with shirts, but if your kids want it, we can do custom orders for your kids because they're going to want all these extra shirts, or order 10 more because everyone in your family is going to want one.
It's funny that you mentioned that because there's another client of ours. Shout out to Hunter from Double H Collective. He got a bunch of youth tees from us as well with his logo on it. Yeah, kids love them. I mean, that's the other thing too is your kids are part of your business and they live that life too and they're affected by it. So why not have them be a part of it? And then backing up to giving away stuff. Do you want to give something away live on this
Yeah.
podcast? Do you want to?
We want to give away? I think we did before was like if you join the so right now I can just maybe tell the audience what you already know about. Like, so the Curious Builder Collective is in we're in 4 states. We're going to launch into 2 more. And what we usually do is we don't tell people about it, but when you're in the collective once a quarter, we'll usually give something that's on brand, that's specific to the Curious Builder, but is also specific to construction. So we've given away these really cool notebooks. We've given away many of your shirts, thousands of the Curious Builder podcast and Curious Collective shirts. We've also done, what else have we done? Hats. And again, back to your comment of like Kyle created the pants because he wanted something that fit him. I actually went through this phase. I was getting into ultra running, and I think I ordered like 10 or 15 different hats from all these different companies because I wanted the perfect hat to run in. And usually when you sweat, and same with construction, those hot summer days, you get the salt lines. Well, shout out to the company BOGO. I ended up getting this really cool mountain running hat, and then I customized it and did my own thing with it. And now I hand it out to everyone. And that's the one that kids steal left, right, and center, but they're sweat proof. And so it's perfect. Anyway, those are things that I've given away. I'm trying to think of what do you want to give away live?
Well, we've given away pants
Oh,
to, yeah, and let's do that. Let's give away some pants. Let's give away an entire setup. Let's do the
okay.
Pioneer hoodie and the pants.
All right, done. How do we want people to get is it whoever shares it with 10 people? Is it someone that the first person to call you that asks you to listen to this website? Like, what do you want the call to action to be in order to be the winner?
That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe we get people to sign up for a Curious Builder podcast or one of your events and they get into a drawing or,
Oh, they
let's,
probably just get it. Actually, we could do that. How about this?
you're the
Ooh,
idea guy.
I can give away your stuff easy. I mean,
You can,
yeah, that's easy. I mean, one thing we could do, how about this? So we have the Contractor Coalition Summit coming up in Chicago,
Mhm.
November 7th through the 10th. And Nick Schiffer will be there, Monica Craftsman, Tyler will be there, I'll be there, Brad Levitt will be there. So why don't we come up? I'm trying to think. We should put a curtail on this. Why don't we give it 1 week? Whoever signs up within 1 week of this episode airing gets a full free kit. So you get the hoodie and you get the creator pants. How about that?
course, and a t-shirt. We gotta throw the
And a
t-shirt in
t-shirt,
there.
and the t-shirt, the whole suite. So there you
Yeah,
go. There you
let's
heard it.
do it.
So we'll put the link in the show notes as well. But yeah, I like it. There's a little
And then
these
maybe off camera we'll sprinkle some other free stuff in there. So stay tuned or watch out for
I love it.
some
That's
more
great.
info.
Never done a live iteration of what that was going to be. I was like, how much stuff do you want me to give away? Because I could give away your stuff a
I
lot.
know.
I always thought a really good idea because again, and this is where you have to invest the money on your side. It's hard from your point of view because it costs money, but I know it's true, which is the collective. Like I know if you gave a, because in this case I give the shirts to everyone, but if you had like a call to action or like a card, like any person that gets the shirt is going to want it for their own company, or at least ask themselves this question: why don't I have this? Now, whether they choose to do it or not, obviously, it's still left to those business owners. But I got to believe that if somehow you can just get these shirts into the hands of business owners and they wear them, like a t shirt wearing challenge, like from the point that they wear one to the time that they order one, making it super simple for them, that would be a huge force multiplier in terms of sales. I don't know what the giveaway is. It's like, I mean, is it obviously everyone on the Curious Builder podcast who's ever been on, you give them one and then they have to, I mean, you have to do a call to action too. So it's like, hey,
Right.
anyone that's been on the podcast, so I think we've had 140 guests, something like that, gets a shirt for being on the podcast. But in order to get one, you have to basically do a testimonial or like a video of you and post it on your social media account. I mean, that would be a pretty powerful way. We've just powered up 140 business owners to talk about your. So there's a good. I think that actually that idea is actually even better than the other one.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, we got to execute on some of those, but we love your community as well. So giving away stuff that for the people who just follow along, that's also a nice little perk there too. So yeah.
All right. Well, we'll steam it up. I appreciate you coming on the podcast today. Personally, what are you most excited for when you're not designing shirts and pants and kind of the next iteration for Harnish? What do you like to do?
Oh, I love to surf. And in the New England area, the best time is in the wintertime. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah, so
very
it's
cold.
cold.
So I like to surf, and I just bought my first mountain bike. I've loved biking and mountain biking, and I did it when I was younger. And as an adult, I just haven't had that opportunity. But now I've finally bought my first mountain bike, so I've been taking my kids out, and I'm looking to do some pretty crazy trails at some point. I am getting older, so I have to take it easy. But
Nice. Are you from like the West Coast or did you learn surfing on the East Coast?
East Coast.
Nice.
Did I say West Coast?
No, but I'm just like,
Oh,
I don't know that many surfers on the East Coast. I mean, I know you have it. I
yeah.
mean, in Minnesota, it's funny you say that. So up in the North Shore, Lake Superior, the best surfing is in January. Well, you can imagine when it's -20 people surfing. They've done these great documentaries on it and like just the ice all over their face. I mean, just ridiculous. But it's gets kind of cultish. Like they have their little breaks and very territorial of like, but it's also
Yep.
fresh water. I remember them doing an interview. It was like, well, yeah, we don't have to wash our wetsuits when we're done with salt water, any of that stuff. You don't have to worry about crowds because it's 0 degrees or below zero in January up until, and like, dude, that sounds so miserable. I don't know if they're wearing like 3 mil poly or sorry, 3 mil wetsuits. If it's 6 mil, 8 mil, I'd be curious to know like how thick their wetsuits get because I mean, that's no joke.
Yeah, I mean, I got a winter suit. And the thing is, though, you got the hood too, but it doesn't cover your face. And so if you think the water is cold in New England in the summertime, I mean, you just wait until the wintertime. When it hits your face, if you wipe out on your board, your whole face like shrinks and you get an instant headache because all the muscles in your head are just like,
Can you
so
put
it's
like Vaseline or Aquifer or some sort of like gel or something on your body to help keep it warmer or no?
I've heard about that and I've considered it, but I haven't tried it yet. I think this season maybe I'll try it and I'll let you know how
Because
it goes.
I'm a swimmer, but mostly just sprinting stuff. I've thought about doing some open water swims, but I was just briefly looking at the English Channel, which is way above what I'm planning on doing. But I believe way back when they did it, they used to cover their body in like lard or some sort of oily substance that was before they had wetsuits. That's how they kept their body insulated.
Is that also for like hydro,
I mean, it would be yeah, I'm
hydrodynamic?
yeah, you'd be super hydrodynamic, I would imagine. But I think the main reason was heat. I don't know. We'd have to do a Google search on that one. But there you go. I want you to take like lard, maybe some spam. That's out of Minnesota. We'll get you a can of spam and you can like rub like meat all over your face and everyone would be like, what are you doing? You're like, I thought it's like, well, my buddy Mark said we didn't have any lard or aquifer, so I'm just gonna spread on some spam on my face.
It'll either be really great for my skin or the next time I'm on your podcast, I'll be all like breaking out and everything.
You'll look like Hamburger Helper.
Yeah.
Well, we've completely gone off the rails for this ending. We'll have everything in the show notes, and I'm really excited to see how many people will sign up for Contractor Coalition and get their free swag.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
We have a consulting page, one-to-one consulting. You can book my time for 1 hour. Perhaps you've heard a guest where you like one of the topics. Maybe you want an introduction to some of the guests that I've had on. Perhaps you want to talk about branding or marketing or anything that we've covered on the podcast over the last 2.5 years. You can book a time at curiousbuilderpodcast.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Curious Builder Podcast. If you like this episode, do us a favor, share it with 3 other business owners. The best way that we can spread what we're doing is by word of mouth, and with your help, we can continue to help other curious builders expand their business. Please share it with your friends, like and review online, and thanks again for tuning in.